really glad to be here, Vishnu, that you're here.
The one volume.
Oh, okay. You have the volume here, dear Govinda?
No,
Oh, you're ready to do.
okay.
Okay.
So we're on.
Hare Krishna, devotees. Hare Krishna. I'm going to take my mask off because it's already difficult to understand my accent, but with a mask it's impossible. So, Hare Krishna Vishnu, Hare Krishna dear Govinda, Hare Krishna Ladini Shakti, Bhakta Len, Bhakta Dhruv, Lakshmi Priya Devidasi, Bhakta Devan, Bhaktin Kim, Bhaktin Pearl, Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from the second canto called The Cosmic Manifestation. And we are in the last chapter of the second canto, which is entitled Bhagavatam is answer to all questions. And we are on text 4. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudhirayat. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan, which is the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. So chapter 10 of Canto 2, and we're on text 4. And one Sanskrit word at a time. Sthiti, Vaikunta Vijay, Oshanam, Tat Anugraha, Manvantarani, Saddharma, Utaya, Karmavasana, Sthiti Vakunta Vijaya, Osanam Tamanugraha, Manvantarani Saddharma, Utaya Karmavasana, Sthiti Vakunta Vijaya, Osanam Tadanugraha, Manvantarani Saddharmam, Utaya Karmavasanaha, Sthiti Vakunta Vijaya, Osanam Tadanugraha, Manvantarani Saddharmam, Utaya Karmavasanaha.
Sitir Vaikuntha Vijaya.
Sitir Vaikuntha Vijaya.
Oshanam Tadanugraha.
Oshanatananugraha.
Manvantarani Sadharma.
Manvantarani Saddharma.
Utaya Karma Vasana.
Udaya Karma Vasana.
Sitir Vaikuntha Vijaya.
Sitir Vaikuntha Vijaya. Prashanam Tadanugraha.
Manvantarani Saddharma.
Manvantarani Saddharma.
Udaya
Udaya
Karma Vasana.
Karma Vasana.
Sitir Vaikuntha Vijaya.
Sitir Vaikuntha Vijaya.
Oshananta Anugraha.
Oshanam Tadanugraha.
Manvantarani Saddharma.
Manvantarani Sadharma.
Utaya Karma Vasana.
Udaya Karma Vasana.
Someone online would like to chant? Is it possible to put the computer in such a way that I can?
Sitir Vaikuntha Vijaya.
Vaikuntha Vijaya.
Oshanam Tadanugraha.
Shananta Anugraha.
Manvantarani Saddharma.
Manvantarani Saddharma.
Utaya Karma Vasana.
Udaya Karma Vasana. Anybody else? Stiti,
Siddhi,
the right situation.
the right situation.
Vaikuntha Vijay,
Vaikuntha Vijaya,
the victory of the Lord of Vaikuntha.
the victory of the Lord of Vaikuntha.
Osanam,
Oshanam,
maintenance.
maintenance.
Tananugraha,
Tat Anugraha,
is causeless mercy.
His causeless mercy.
Manvantarani,
Manvantarani,
the reign of the Manus.
the reign of the Manus.
Saddharma,
Sadharma,
perfect occupational duty.
perfect occupational duty.
Utaya,
Udaya,
impetus to work.
impetus to work.
Karma Vasana,
Karma Vasana,
desire for fruitive work.
desire for fruitive work.
Translation. The right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Manus and their laws are meant to give right direction in life. The impetus for activity is the desire for fruitive work. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This material world is created, maintained for some time, and again annihilated by the will of the Lord. The ingredient for creation and the subordinate creator, Brahma, are first created by Lord Vishnu in his first and second incarnation. The first Purusha incarnation is Mahavishnu, and the second Purusha incarnation is the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, from whom Brahma is created. The third Purusha avatar is the Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, who lives as the super soul of everything in the universe and maintains the creation generated by Brahma. Shiva is one of the many sons of Brahma, and he annihilates the creation. Therefore, the original creator of the universe is Vishnu, and he is also the maintainer of the created being by his causeless mercy. As such, it is the duty of all conditioned souls to acknowledge the victory of the Lord and thus become pure devotees and live peacefully in this world where miseries and danger are always in existence. The conditioned souls who take this material creation as a place for satisfaction of the senses and thus are illusioned by the external energy of Vishnu remain again to be subjected to the law of material nature, creation and destruction. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that beginning from the topmost planet of this universe down to the lowest planet, Patalaloka, all are destructible, and the conditioned soul may travel in space either by good or bad work or by modern spacecraft, but they are sure to die everywhere, although the duration of life in different planets is different. The only means to attain eternal life is to go back home, back to Godhead, where there is no more rebirth as in the material planets. The conditioned souls, being unaware of this very simple fact, because of forgetting their relationship with the Lord of Vaikuntha, try to find out a permanent life in this material world. Being illusioned by the external energy, they thus become engaged in various types of economic and religious development, forgetting that they are meant for going back home, back to Godhead. This forgetfulness is so strong due to the influence of Maya that the conditioned soul do not at all want to go back to Godhead. By sense adjustment, they become victims of birth and death repeatedly, and thus spoil human lives, which are chances for going back to Vishnu. The directive scriptures made by the Manu in different ages and millenniums are called Sat Dharma, good guidance for human beings who should take advantage of all the revealed scriptures for their own interest to make life's successful termination. The creation is not false, but it is temporary manifestation just to give a chance for the conditioned soul to go back to Godhead. The desire to go back to Godhead and functions perform in that direction forms the right path of work. When such a regulative path is accepted, the Lord gives all protection to his devotee by his causeless mercy, while the non-devotee risk their own activities to bind themselves in a chain of fruitive reaction. The word Sat Dharma is significant in this connection. Sat Dharma, or duty performed for going back to Godhead and thus becoming his unalloyed devotees, is the only pious activity. All others may pretend to be pious, but actually they are not. It is for this reason only that the Lord advises in the Bhagavad Gita that one give up all so-called religious activities and completely engage in the devotional service of the Lord to become free from all anxiety due to the dangerous life of material existence. To work situated in Sat Dharma is the right direction of life. One's aim of life should be to go back home, back to Godhead, and not be subjected to repeated births and deaths in the material world by clinging good or bad bodies for temporary existence. Herein lies the intelligence of human life, and one should desire to the activities of life in that way. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyanachala Shalakaya Shakshun Militan Jena Tasmai Shri Guave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhistam Shtafitam Yena Bhutale Swayamupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamana Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Savajatam Saganas Agunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savatutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpa Tarubhyacha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhaskachare Jatarine Okam Krevoti Vachram Pangum Langayate Grim Yak Mampe Sagu Tisnatarina. Hare Krishna. So this verse reads, the right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Manus and their laws are meant to give right direction in life. The impetus for activity is a desire for fruitive work. So yesterday, Malini Shakti was giving class and I was driving to my whatever treatment. And I didn't listen to all the class, but I listened to a part of it. And at one point, Lady Shakti said something about, I don't need to know how a computer works. I don't need to know how a car works. And I said, okay, it's hard for me, but still I accept. You know, there's many things in my life where I don't know how they work. I have that impetus in me to know how things work. But I accept because there's so many things I don't know how they work. And for sure, I don't know how the sun set every day and sunrise every day. I don't know how, how come, the tree grow. I don't know how nature is created. I don't know how my body functions. There's so many things that I don't know how. And here, it's not so much how. How is important, and definitely in the Bhagavatam, there is a lot of how the material, like the creation. The first canto is creation, and then the second canto is cosmic manifestation, so the second creation. And so there is a lot of how. And most importantly, is the why. The why is more important. Why is there a car? Why is there a car? It's because I need a car to go from point A to point B or C or D. Why a computer? Sometimes I ask myself that question. I'm in a phase of life where I really, there is no reason for computer. I really want to come to that place. There is no reason for computer, internet. And I'm so glad I never started to use smartphone because I see all my clients, not all, but most of my clients are addicted to them. So why computer? Okay, so put aside my bias. A computer, can perform so many functions that are very useful. We, because of computer, we can do statistics a lot faster. We can design. My brother is a landscape architect, and he has sophisticated software to design beautiful garden. So in a sense, the computer help us to be a creator, to create so many things. And we can imagine that there is a bigger computer to create everything else that we're not creating with our computers. But anyway, so the why, that's what we want to look at, the why. And the why we'll understand, by why, then we will understand how to use it. Not so much necessarily how it's formed, even so we have a lot of information about that, but how to use it. Like if we understand why I need a car to move from one point to another, then I will learn how to drive. I will find a teacher that will teach me, like, I don't know, in America it's a little different the system, but in France you have to go to driving school. You don't learn with your parents, because who knows if your parents know how to drive. Just like, do they know how to drive? No, I will not want to have learned how to drive from my father, for sure. So we go to driving school because we want to learn to drive properly from a bona fide source of someone who have learned properly how to drive. Like when my daughter was growing up, I taught her, and I thought I taught her well. I started when she was 11 years old, which is not the rules here. But also I sent her with police. They had a program where you learn how to skid, you learn to do also many things, because they were experts. They know exactly how to use a car, not only in the moment where it's easy driving, that there is nothing happening, but when there is ice on the road. Of course, in Florida, that doesn't happen. But what does happen in Florida is big storms. And those big storms are so dangerous because the water accumulates on the pavement that's very dry and sometimes covered with oil. And then the water accumulates, and then the cars can skid very easily. So yes, so I sent her to school with experts who know what to do in that situation, how to maneuver, how to really know how to maneuver the car in such a way to stay on the road. So similarly, in the creation of the Lord, we learn how, and we will speak how, and the why we like, and help us to understand, so how do I do that? And what's the rules? And where are the experts? And how to take shelter of the experts. And then by doing that, then we feel safe, in a material world. We feel safe utilizing our human form of life. So I really love this purport, and in fact, I would like to just read it again and again and go slowly in all the points in this purport, because it's very, very so eloquently spoken about. And what I noticed right away in this verse is the love of Sukadev Goswami. Like each verse of the Bhagavad Psalm is spoken by devotees. Not all the verses. We have the verses that are spoken by demons, but even there is so much glorification of Krishna. And the devotees, out of their love for Krishna, even when they speak about the creation, they are going to glorify, because that's where we are supposed to do. We are supposed to glorify the Lord in all our action, in all our words, in all our interaction. And the devotee imbued with that love cannot even avoid it. There is no way. So Sukadev Goswami is like speaking about the victory of the Lord of Vaikuntha. It's so beautiful. It's speaking about the right situation of the living entities to obey the laws of the Lord. That's under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all the directions. So there is, what is that? The Lord of Vaikuntha Vijay. Vaikuntha Vijay means like the victories of the Lord of Vaikuntha. So the Lord of Vaikuntha is really suffering. Is suffering because his part and parcel are going against him. And I really like Narayan's comment in the class I gave last time. And he spoke how we are rebellious to the Lord, and we cause pain to the Lord, and we cause pain to the Lord's creation and manifestation. Really, it's no creation, it's more manifestation. And he compared that to cancer cells. Cancer cells, like there is a body, the body is a unit, and the unit that works so perfectly That unit is capable of taking food, digesting food, giving energy to the body. It's capable of creating activities. Of course, we know that we are not that independent. The body is not independent, but still we are looking at the body as a unit. Like the body of the universe is also a unit, and it's not independent either. And so the body as a unit, and then there is a few cells that are rebellious, and they create something that's against the unit of the body. So that's what we are. And that's why we are here. Let's not be in illusion, we are cancer cells. So I like that comment from Narayan, that we are cancer cells. And it's hurting. It's hurting the Lord, it's hurting the Lord's pure devotees, And so the Lord is hurt by the rebellious cells of his part and parcel manifestation, expansion. We are expansion of the Lord. However, we are created for his enjoyment. We are manifested for his enjoyment. Everything. In fact, the Lord, there is no difference between the Lord and his thoughts. When he thinks, things manifest. So he thinks about enjoyment, and then there is millions of part and parcels that come out to fulfill that desire for enjoyment, because the Lord is a supreme enjoyer. Is a supreme enjoyer, and there is no other enjoyer. There is only the supreme enjoyer, and then there is Prakriti with a secondary enjoyer, and that's us. We are Prakriti also. We are the secondary enjoyer, and we are not going to be happy if the Lord is not happy. That's very, very simple. We are the secondary enjoyer, and as such, we are going, because we are part and parcel of Krishna. If the Lord is happy, we are happy. If the Lord is sad and pained, then we are going to be pained and sad. So the Lord is seeing those cancer cells, and he say, like, how can I help those cancer cells? What can I do? What can I do to help those fallen souls who somehow had a desire to enjoy separated from me? And the Lord give us that free will, because without free will, there is no love. Without free will, how can I know someone loves me if they don't have the choice to love me? That's not very nice. I will not want people around me loving me because they have to love me. That will be really painful for me. So similarly, it will be painful for Krishna to have people around that stick around because I have to love him, because if I love him, then my life is going to be good. And so Krishna gives us a free will to love him or not. And then as soon as we have any tinge, any little cloud of pollution, of illusion, that we will be happy somewhere else, that we will be happy that we are supposed to be the center of everything, not the Lord. Any tinge of envy that's developed in our heart, then we are cast in illusion. Maya Devi take charge at that moment. Maya Devi is the energy of the Lord, and she is very, very faithful to the Lord, and she knows her job. Our job is to notice where we are at and our deepest desire. And when those deepest desires are separated from the desire of the Lord to be with him and to serve him, love him, then she casts us in illusion, and she keeps us in illusion. She keeps us in illusion. So the Lord, out of his mercy, he sees his children. He sees his children like, oh, my children are cast away in illusion. And he knows that so much suffering and pain. Yeah, it's said very clearly that the material life is a place of misery. It's a place of misery. It's a place of pain and misery. And of course, the Lord is knowing about that, he knows that as soon as we have desire for fruitive work, like in the verse he said, desire for fruitive work. As soon as we have desire for fruitive work, to work for a fruit, like that's about our enjoyment, then we are going to suffer. And he creates the universe, he creates, manifests his pastimes of creation of the universe to help us to come back to our constitutional position, Jivaraswarupai, Krishna and Nityadas, that we are servant of Krishna. That's our constitutional position. There's nothing we can do about it. It's just who we are. We just forgotten who we are.
I wonder if the cancer cells are sitting in the body and having discussions like this.
Yeah, and in fact, one of my doctors, I asked how the cancer goes away. And he says there is not only one way. Some get burned and destroyed, but some turn back to normal cell. So that's what we are encouraged to do, to turn back to be normal cell, not to be burned. And we can be burned. We can never be annihilated. We are eternal, so we can never be annihilated. But sometimes Srila Prabhupada used the word Nityabada, eternally conditioned. And that's, of course, not eternally, but the time is so immemorial and so like life, trillion of lifetimes that it looks like eternal. So I had a train of thought and I lost it. So I'm going to go back to the purport because it's such a beautiful purport. So the Lord, he is supreme intelligence, they have all opulence, and at the same time, Krishna never leave Vrindavan, and so he manifests himself in a way that will help his other manifestation. And later on, we will see, like in this chapter, there is so much of that. Like he manifests himself in a way to help his other manifestation. So he manifests himself in his first incarnation of like the Purush avatar. All the Purush avatar are manifestation, plenary expansion of the Lord that are made from the material creation to really support Durga Devi to do her job. So then he manifests into, well, there is a chart of you and all that, but I'm going to simplify it like it is here, to Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu, he lay down on the Mahatattva soup, and that Mahatattva soup is where there is all the ingredients, but it's just undefined ingredients, all the ingredients, the hatred, the love, the intelligence, the mind, the false ego is there, the noses are there, the ears are there, all the five elements, like Aladini was explaining yesterday, how the five elements manifest, and with their manifestation, the senses and the object of the senses manifest. So all that is in that soup. And then Mahavishnu, he lay down on that soup, and then is in yoga nidra, is in slumber, and he's dreaming. This is a really interesting thing. He's dreaming, and then from his spore, as he breathes, when he exhales, from his spore are manifesting billions of universe. We really think our little life is so important, but when we may not understand how, the deep how, but by reading those descriptions, we can get a sense how insignificant we are, because the body of Mahavishnu is manifesting like billions, an unlimited number of universe, and we think like, wow, my house is so big. And Prabhupada said, like, yeah, we can imagine a bag of mustard seed. And then that's all the universe. And we take one tiny of those universe. And that's our universe. We can identify my universe. That's very rare that people say my universe. But we can identify that, to that extent. Usually people, the maximum they do is maybe my planet or my galaxy, somewhere like that. But it's very rare, even my galaxy. So Mahavishnu manifests all that. And then in each universe, there is a second Purusha who enters the universe. And those universes are dark. And they are filled, half of them, they are filled with a Garbhodak or ocean. And there, the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, the second Purusha, lay down on the bed of Sheshanaga, which is his first expansion, Balaram. And then from his lotus, from his navel goes the lotus, and then Brahma comes, and we have heard about Brahma a lot in the second canto. And then that Purusha, the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu Purusha, has gathered all the ingredients, and that's what's called the Virat Rupa. The Virat Rupa is where there is thousands of noses and thousands of arms and thousands of legs, and all the mental position we can be in, and all that. And then Lord Brahma, we have heard this story, but when he starts creating the controllers of the universe. So there is always an order like that. From Lord Brahma comes the demigods, and the demigods, they have inferior like us, and we are still expansion of the Lord, but more and more we move expansion of the Lord. And we are controlled by the demigods. In fact, we cannot even open our eyes without the control of the universe, the demigods. So if we really think about it, then we can come to a place that our, understanding that our body is like a vehicle. It's created by our past desire and also activities. So through the past desire of the activities of the living entities, when they are infused in the Mahatattva, then the shape of that body takes place. Sometimes we can take an example of a magnet. If we put a magnet, then it attracts. So our subtle body, which is the first covering of the soul, is a subtle body. In that subtle body doesn't die at the time of death. When there is time of death, the subtle body doesn't die. The subtle body is still alive. And that in that subtle body, it stores all the data, all our activities, all our desires, all that. And then the super soul is there to make a transition from one life to another as a witness. And so that subtle body is like a magnet, and is going to attract the perfect nose, the perfect eyes, the perfect ears, the perfect legs, the perfect sense of smell. Like if I'm a dog, I have a certain sense of smell. If I'm a pig, I have a different sense of smell. If I am, a bat, I have a different ability, a different eyes that see at night. So like that, the living entities, when they are infused they're infused, and then for creation, of course, there is different creation, there is different manifestation, annihilation. And then they gather from that Virat Rupa, they attract, and then Lord Brahma is in charge of that. And the way he does it is through the demigods. And here I speak about the Manus. The Manus, they are the father of mankind. So all the Prajapatis, they have different roles. Some Prajapatis, they do the beasts. Some Prajapatis, they are in charge of different species of life, and the trees, the vegetables. And then the Manus, they are the father of mankind. So they take care of mankind. And the Manus, because they care about human being, because the human form of life is the most conducive to go back to Godhead. And in a purport here, Srila Prabhupada say how it's such a boon. It's such a boon. And yesterday I was reading something that was really, I never read before, I never noticed, that Srila Prabhupada was speaking about in a purport to the third canto, third chapter, one of the first there. He was speaking how the world will never be burdened by overpopulation of human beings. That in fact, the population of human beings is never going to burden the world. And some scientists think like that, and they find a way to sometimes create war or something to diminish the population of the world. But he said, and that there is so many, like the mountains are so much heavier than even all the human beings gathered together. And then on the mountains, there is so many living entities. In any case, he said that the number of human beings on Earth are, as living entities, are less than 5% of all the living entities. And that was really interesting to think about that. Like there is 5 of us here. So like we are just 5% of all the living entities in this room. And that makes sense. So according to our desire and activities, then the how, it's not that clear. At least I don't understand all the intricacy of the how, but I do more and more understand the why we are giving a body, and why this human form of life is so important. Because in that human form of life, we can inquire about the absolute truth. Kamasya, Nendriya, Priti, Loba, Jivasya, Loba. Anyway, this verse, Jivasya Tadva Vigyasa, Nartayasya Karmabi. This verse said that we have desire, and let's not direct our desire towards fruitive activities, towards sense gratification, towards activities that are meant for us to make plans to be happier or to be more comfortable or to be healthier or anything like that. Let's not do that. Let's only focus on our preservation, our self-preservation, our health, like to the bare minimum to maintain the body and the soul together, basically. There is a bare minimum, and the bare minimum is so far away from what the Western world have been training us to believe. Really, the bare minimum is so far away. We can live with very little and be happy. And it said, this verse said, because we should really use our time to inquire about the absolute truth. Like really spending time inquiring with others, sharing with others. Yesterday, Bhakta Eze, he was so excited because he got to share Krishna consciousness, chanting with others. And this process of sharing with others is so blissful, because when we do that, we directly connect with the pastime of the Lord Chaitanya. So, and the verse continues that nothing else should be the goal of one's work. And in this verse, it says like, the impetus for activity is a desire for fruitive work. Otherwise, there is no activity. In a Bhagavad Gita, I describe what activity is, what action is, and what inaction is, and how action in inaction and inaction in action is. So when we act according to the law of the Manus, because the Manus, they give us laws, they give us a law book, and they give us, okay, here is your blueprint. You're born as a human being. Here is your blueprint. If you follow those laws, if you follow the laws and the law of nature, then you make your life a success. You make your life a success. How to? By obeying the Lord. Obeying, and sometimes obeying have a bad connotation, at least in the modern society. It's bad to obey. But if we think about it, let's say I have a child, and I know that for the child, it's not good to come too close to the stove because they're getting burned. And I give the order to the child, you don't come around the stove. The stove is not a place for you, it's a dangerous place. Then we will want the child to obey. And in that situation, most people will not think that this is a bad word, obey. They will think, no, it's protective, it's really loving. Yeah, we want that child to obey that order of not coming close to the stove. So Krishna is like that. He loves us, he's in pain, and he's telling us, don't come close to the stove. You're going to burn yourself. I tell you, you're going to burn yourself. And again, we are here to understand that material life means burn ourselves. And what I like about this purport is there is an highlight, and I don't know if I can find it easily, so I'm just going to paraphrase. But the highlight is when we are in material consciousness, we believe that we can enjoy. We have that belief, strong belief, that there is a way. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to, trick the system in some way or another, and I'm going to find a way to enjoy. And that this life is a paradise in some ways. And the devotees or the spiritualists, they fully understand this is a place of misery. This is a place of pain and misery. And that's such a big distinction. And Srila Prabhupada again and again, he brings that point home. And we can think, why is so pessimistic? Why is it he's always telling us it's a misery when it's so nice and I can enjoy so nicely here? Well, yeah, it's clear that as long as we think like that, that's where we are going to stay. It's very easy. We are going to stay here as long as we're like even a little tinge that I can make it here. I can find a way. It's not that bad, or any tinge of that. We are not ready. Really, to be ready means like, no, this is a place of misery and pain, and there is nothing else than misery and pain. And by acting according to my constitutional position, by obeying the Lord, by living by the scriptures that guide us to make the Lord and the absolute truth the center of our lives, then we get to be happy. We get to be living a fulfilling life. There is a purport. I took notes when I was reading that purport. It said, the surest path to happiness is to live by the principles laid down by the Lord and not to disobey his established laws, which are enacted in the Veda, the Purana, for the forgetful living entities. So we are forgetful. We even forget who we are. And we can see that in our courses. To some extent, people, even on the material platform, they forget who they are. And then they suffer so much because they want to be someone else. Because from the time they were maybe 2 or 3 years old, they were envious of other kids and they want to be someone else. And then they have low self-worth, low self-esteem. But all that is like a deeper illusion that I forget who I am. And then bringing back people to like, no, you're part and parcel of Krishna. No, you don't need to be that kid. You can accept the kind of nose, the kind of ears. You can accept the kind of intelligence Krishna gave you, the kind of mind Krishna gave you. They are all Krishnas anyway. They all belong to Krishna. They are part of the Vira Trupa. They are part of Garbhodakasha edition. So we can accept all of it. We don't need to fight and come to a place by accepting our vehicle. Like I see the kind of nose, I accept it. It's perfect for me. It's really perfect vehicle for me. I have the kind of eyes and including the subtle body. And that's the most difficult. Like when we can transcend maybe the gross body, come to a place, okay, I accept, like maybe I have pain, or maybe I don't have the hair type I want, or I don't have the kind of eyesight I wanted. That's maybe easy. And next is the same thing, to come to accept the subtle bodies that have been given to us in this lifetime, to know that this is also part of the vehicle for me. And that vehicle is perfect, including the shortcomings, including everything, because they are vehicle for me to go back to Godhead. I can't try to change them to be better, to make plan to not feel the pain in this material world, not feel the unhappiness, not feel the worry, not feel whatever that is there to experience and transcend. And when I come to a place of accepting, okay, that's my perfect vehicle, that's the vehicle I have, and that vehicle is only made for inquiry about the absolute truth. And it's made further to glorify the victory of the Lord of Vaikuntha. That He created such a beautiful, perfect system for me to go back to Him. He created such a wonderful system of, He created such a wonderful system of rehabilitation that just by following the laws that He gives us, by reading the Shastra, by finding someone who knows how to drive. Because the spiritual master, he knows how to drive. It's like a driving school, like I was sharing at the beginning. He knows how to drive the vehicle. It doesn't matter what vehicle we have. He doesn't say, okay, I know how to drive a semi, but I don't know how to drive a Muppet. The spiritual master knows all of it. He knows how, okay, you have a vehicle. Here, I will teach you how to drive. Learn to drive the vehicle. Learn to drive your own vehicle. Don't try to have another vehicle. That doesn't work. In the 13th chapter, I love this verse in the 13th chapter. In the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is very clear. We only have one field of activities. One field of activities. That's our field of activities. And we can never know someone else's field of activity. Only the super soul can. The super soul knows all field of activities. The individual soul knows only one field of activities. And that field of activities is our bodies, our mind, our gift from the Lord in this lifetime to perfect our life and to become successful. I wanted to read an excerpt from the purport also that I read. Because it go further into how beautiful this world is. Because this world is beautiful. It's beautiful, why? Because it's a creation of the world, the Lord. It says the material creation is meant for fulfilling the desire of the Lord. So that's beautiful, isn't it? Like if we know that everything here is meant to fulfill the desire of the Lord, the deep desire to see us back, then we can trust. There is no mistakes in the universe, no mistake in the universe. Everything is perfect and complete. Not for my enjoyment, not for my God project, but to go back to Godhead. And so it continues. And His desire is that the conditioned souls who are unfit to enter into the kingdom of God have a chance to improve their condition for entering. So we are not fit. As long as we have slight desire to enjoy separated from Krishna, in men, we are unfit to enter the kingdom of God. So out of mercy, create a place. And His desire is to see us back. And so for us to become fit, we just need to become fit. And when we are fit, Maya Devi, she bowed down before us. She come and said, we are on the same team now. We are on the same team. Finally. My divine energy, Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. Finally, we are all divine. So now we can work together. Like the pure devotee works together with Maya Devi, isn't it? Now, the pure devotee is there and he guides, and then through the guidance and the devotee is taken care of very specially by Maya Devi. Like I was listening to a class where Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna used, when someone is serious about surrendering to Krishna, Krishna especially take care of him in a special way, through the agency of Maya Devi. However, not in an automatic ways, like as long as we are like animals, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, thinking to be merry and have fun in the world, then we're just in a mechanical way of the world, action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction. When we turn to God, then we can start to slow down the action and reaction. Not that nothing is going to happen to us. However, everything that's happened to us is usable in the service of the Lord to go back to Godhead, because Krishna takes special care to that soul who even turned to him. I was reading about, even on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, those who were on the battle and just saw the Lord and appreciated his beauty, they got to be delivered to Vaikuntha. How beautiful is that? Just by appreciating his beauty. So to always hear and glorify the Lord in all our action, in all our thoughts, and in everything we do. Yeah. So the entire process of cosmic arrangement is intended just to give a chance to the conditioned soul to enter the kingdom of God. And there is an adequate arrangement for their maintenance by nature of the Lord. So that's the why we started the class with saying, like, we look at the how, and the how is important, but not that important, like Radhini Shakti was saying. What's important is the why, and when we are understanding the why, then what to do with it, what to do, how to fulfill, like, yeah, I know why there is car, and now I need to learn from the bona fide teacher, and then I know how to use the car for the destination. So the bona fide teacher knows how to, for us to drive the car back to Godhead, and that's his desire. Just thinking of that, if we were to, like, out of love, like, okay, it's Srila Prabhupada's desire to see me back to Godhead, to see everybody else back to Godhead. And then we serve Srila Prabhupada, knowing, like, keeping that consciousness that this is Srila Prabhupada's desire. Every day, keeping that consciousness, this is Srila Prabhupada's desire to fulfill the desire of Krishna. Because there is oneness in Vaishnavism. The devotee have oneness, and the oneness of Vaishnava is oneness in desire. And so we are also a personalist of oneness, attraction, to have the desire of Krishna in oneness, desire to serve the desire of the Lord. So that's Srila Prabhupada, and we can remember that. We can remember that he has such a strong desire to fulfill the desire of Krishna, that he was specially empowered by the Lord to reclaim the souls lost in Western Kali Yoga. And I admire his empowerment all the time. I really see how Srila Prabhupada is there to protect us from all the pitfall of spiritual life, all the pitfall of how we can be having spiritual bypass, or how we can go into so many directions with our spiritual life away from Krishna, and thinking that we are coming closer to him, because that's the nature of Maya illusion, is that we don't even know that we are in illusion. However, by taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada, it's a sure boat. It's a solid boat. It's a solid foundation. There is nothing moving about that foundation. If we stay there, then we are doing what is advised in this verse. Then by staying at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, knowing that it's such a solid foundation, specially catered to the Western world of Kali Yoga, to make advancement, meeting us where we are at, and not pretending we are somewhere else than where we are at, then we obey the Lord. We are right there how we can look at Prabhupada as a manu. He's giving us a law for mankind for the 10,000 years. That's what he said. Like those books are the law book for the 10,000 years. So we can look at Srila Prabhupada as a manu, mind, you know, like and his books as the blueprint to help us. So if we stay connected with his teaching, to his class, to his books, to continuously associating with those who follow him, then we're in a boat, and the boat may get rocky sometimes, but we know how to continue to be on the boat. We know how to stay in the boat. And the boat is going to rock many times. Maya Devi is like such a strong personality. She's making sure that nobody can enter Vaikuntha with any tinge of any material contamination. We are not going to hide from Maya Devi. She's so expert seeing it. She can see it. She can see even the little dust of material contamination. She can see it. And we are not going to be fit to enter the kingdom of God. We are not going to be fit to practice pure devotional service, to be serving Srila Prabhupada or serving the Lord in pure bhakti until we are free from all the dust. So Maya Devi is like, yes, please take that dust. I don't want it. I don't want to be separated from Krishna anymore. I don't want to be in this material world. I don't want to not be with Krishna in my constitutional position. I want to go back. I want to go back to Godhead. I want to go back to being who I am and nothing else. And nothing else is going to please me until I reach that. So through that eagerness, Lolyam, that's what I want. I want pure devotional service. I know pure devotional service exists. How do I know that? Because I have an example of the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. I have an example, so I know pure devotion exists, and I want that. And to really be like focused on, I want that. I want pure devotional service. I want to serve Srila Prabhupada purely. I want to serve Krishna purely. I want to love Krishna. I want to love Srila Prabhupada. And really have that eagerness and let that eagerness guide our every moment, every moment of chanting our rounds, reading Srila Prabhupada, and making our life purposeful and successful. Anything else, any desire for any other success is going to fail. It's just going to fail. There is no chance of that. There's no other success. Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he says that good action or pious action, they're not good if they are separated from Krishna. They are not good. They are in a duality. So we can see like every action is, sometimes I give the example of plastic or paper. When we go to the grocery store in America, in France, people have their bags. So it's a different situation. But in America, every time you go to the grocery store, people ask you plastic and paper. And I'm just like, I don't like questions. Please don't ask me questions or making choice. I don't like choosing anything. So in that situation, I get frozen. Okay, if I choose plastic, it's going to completely pollute the earth. If I choose paper, it destroys all the trees. What do I do? I should have my bags with me. Yeah, that's the way to be responsible. So same thing, like we are not going to make it. Every situation in the material world is like that situation of plastic and paper. We are not going to get out of it. Every situation is duality, plastic, paper, paper. What is like being responsible to have my own bag is being responsible that I step out of the duality. I come to a place where I water the root of the tree. I feed the stomach, and I'm really focusing on what's most important and nothing else. And then in that way, I don't have to constantly be in agony of choosing between plastic or paper. That's Sound like I can stop here. So I will read again the Sanskrit and the English of the words today. I know there was so much more to the purpose that what we discussed, and I invite you to expand on it. Stityo Vaikuntha
Then,
Vijaya.
it's like always short haired, clean shaven guy. So now you look at my hair.
Chanter, Gajendra, we heard your conversation. Stityo Vaikuntha Vijaya Poshanantada Nugraha Manvantara Nisadharma Uttaya Karma Vashanaha. The right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So deep. By obeying, we are in perfect peace of mind. When we feel the protection of the Lord is like surrender. The manus and their laws are meant to give right direction in life. The impetus for activity is a desire for fruitive work. So I invite you all to enrich and expand on the class today. If you have any question, comment, realization. Yes, Ladini Shakti.
I feel a lot of pain here in your class.
You feel pain.
Yes.
Mm.
And I have like a mask full of us. And yeah, like I don't want to be the cancer cell.
Mm.
But also like when I hear it's like we are like for Krishna's enjoyment or what is the other one? Obey Krishna's rules. I do feel triggered. Like why Krishna should enjoy him. Why should I obey him? And I have like so much pain, like I don't want to be the cancer cell.
Mm.
And I feel really helpless.
You feel helpless because you don't want to be a cancer cell for Krishna. And like having a desire for you to go back. And at the same time, you can feel inside that cancer cells are rebellious. They say, why should I obey? Why should he be in the center? And that's honest. That's honest. That's our situation. We don't want to stop to be rebellious. And so we are rebelling. And at the same time, we are pained by the fact that we are rebellious. I appreciate your comments and sharing. And it's honest position of where we are at. We should feel that pain that I'm a cancer cell. And we should be able to identify the ways that we are rebellious, that we really want to stay rebellious. I want to stay a cancer cell.
But I also don't want to stay a cancer cell.
Yeah, that's both true. It's both true for all of us. And often we don't want to be a cancer cell because it's painful to be a cancer cell. So we really need to come to a place like, I don't want to be a cancer cell because I don't want the Lord to suffer.
Well, it's funny because I feel like more afraid, like when you said like we can pray, like I want to love Krishna, I want to love Prabhupada. That feels really scary for me. It feels more scary for me than to just like peacefully suffer in this material world. So
yeah, I can relate to that. What will happen if we were to become sincere?
oh my God.
What will happen to me if I was to become sincere? Then Maya Devi will say, "Oh, I'm so happy for you. I have the perfect medicine for you." I know how to take all the dirt from your heart, and now you gave me permission. I'm going to come and do it.
Yeah. So I don't think like this, like of course, like I want to go to Krishna because I don't want to suffer, but I don't think it's like fully true because I don't want to go to Krishna because I don't want to suffer.
Yeah, of course. We don't trust. We don't trust that by being sincere, I really wanted to go to Krishna, we are going to be protected. That's an item of surrender. Sharanagati, like to really believe in the protection of the Lord. to really know that by being sincere, giving myself to Krishna, regardless what will happen, I'm going to be peaceful, like this verse says. The law of the Lord does be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That no matter what's happened, it's not like, oh, because I'm under the protection of the Lord, I'm not going to get sick, or I'm not going to have challenges. Or no, Prabhupada was in the street of Calcutta, completely sincere, giving his life. And of course, it's pastime for Prabhupada, it's not Maya Devi, it's pastime, but still he gives example. It's like something for us to learn. And he was bumped by a bull and hurt, really hurt, when he was distributing his back to Godhead. So the life of Srila Prabhupada shows us what it means. And yes, definitely doesn't mean that we will not feel any onslaught from the material energy. But through those onslaughts, we can be peaceful, completely a peace of mind, which is the most, that we receive more pain from the mind than from the pain itself. You know, recently when I was going to all that hell, I could see my mind was so negative. I was so dark, negative. And I didn't know how to step out of it. But the pain was more coming from the mind than it was coming from the body or all that. Of course, you know, all the drugs that was affecting my mind, but I can't retrace. So even if we go to whatever, like being pushed by a pool, or being a pauper in the street of Calcutta, not having any money for food even, not even know where to sleep that night, if we are really in the arm of Krishna, knowing his full protection, then we are peaceful at mind. And if our mind is peaceful, then that's all we need. We go through what we need to go through. Yeah, thank you for your honesty and sincere sharing. And I believe your realization will help us all, you know, by having those realizations, by understanding, yeah, I'm a cancer cell. Yeah, I don't want to be a cancer cell, but yes, I do want to be a cancer cell. And yes, I'm really scared of being really sincere and give myself to Krishna because I don't know what will happen. So I'm not really ready to be fully surrendered to Krishna and believing in his protection. That's it. That's it. Thank you very much for sharing that insight. Anybody else? Yes, Vishnu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for my mind. I was also like, thank you for bringing that up, for clarifying that there are other Prajapatis and other species of life to the animals, because Prabhupada, he would translate Manu as like, you know, the descendant of Manu, but only for human beings.
Mhm.
Diffuse.
Yes. The Manus are the leader of mankind, but there is also other Prajapatis in charge of the different living entities. Yeah.
Is that just to say that the human form of life is the most important?
Human form of life is the most important in the evolution from one species to another, because in a human form of life, we are there is a few things, the reason why, but one is our free will is uncovered enough. Like in animal lives, the free will is really covered by heavy tamas and raja, and then animal life are just instinctive, you know, guided by super soul, of course. And of course, animal can get some, through human beings, they can get some mercy, but they need a human being. But the human being has the ability to inquire about the absolute truth. They inquired about, like, who am I? And also on the earthly platform is a middle planetary system. The suffering and like there is suffering. Of course, we can see in Kaliga things are degrading, but like in heavenly planets, there is so much comfort that people don't have as much impetus. And then in a lower planetary system, there is, like more darkness and ignorance. And so there is no impetus there. So the middle planetary system and the level of the human being is also more conducive for that, because, like there is a more balance of happiness and distress. And that gives impetus towards God. When we suffer, like often people, they may be atheists, and then all of a sudden they suffer and turn to God like that, or they go through some pain and then they inquire, why am I living? Why am I going to all that? Yeah. That response to your question. Yes. Anything else? Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna, Malini. Do you have a question? Anybody else have a question, comments, sharing?
I appreciate it. Kind of following up on what Vishnu shared, I appreciate your presentation, Malini. I got more clarity on this whole idea of the 10 subjects of Bhagavatam, the 10 categories. And I like where you focused and where you highlighted, right, this the victory of the Lord of Vaikuntha Vijaya. That's in the word for word and in the purport. So that the creation, and there's 4 or 5 levels of creation, the manas. So it's all, it's all a victory of Krishna, particularly Vishnu, because the categories relate to Vishnu, because material world, liberation from material world, and of course. But then all the all those different energies and all those 10 subjects, all the 9 subjects are meant to come to Krishna like that. And so, and of course, Vaikuntha is the expansion of Krishna that deals with the material world. And it's victory, like it's such mercy. And so I just got fuller understanding than I've had since I started with Bhagavatam 40 years ago, in this class about these different categories of Bhagavatam and how it's all about celebrating the wonderful Lord of Vaikuntha and what Krishna through Vishnu is doing for the benefit of the conditioned souls, and through this secondary and the tertiary creations and then through the manus. And I love that. Prabhupada Manu, the law books for the next 10,000 years, and then through the manus, giving us the driving manual. And like so, so for Shukadeva Goswami Maharaj Parikshit, this is just this is so much loving appreciation of what Krishna through his expansions is doing for our eternal benefit. So this was. I got a lot of light shown on this part of Bhagavatam that describes the 10 subjects. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm hearing your sharing, and I'm thinking, well, I don't understand any of that anyway. I don't know what you heard from me, but I heard from you about the 10 subjects. We discussed it in our last walk, something like that. But how it describes the different cantons, like that. And thank you for sharing and your encouraging words. Hare Krishna. It's for devotees, there is no difference between the pastime of creation to the Purusha avatar. Of course, it's Vishnu's and also Vishnu's. And for devotees, the glorification, the love that they feel in their heart, like between that and the pastime in Vrindavan, because their love is for the person. Like if I love Rohini, I love Rohini's care, and I like needles. No, I don't. But but and there is so many things. A mother, taking care of all the energy. We all have energy, and then of course there is intimate pastimes, and they are very relishable. However, it's not complete love if I'm only loving one aspect of a person. Complete love is really coming to appreciate every aspect all the energy and all their creation and everything they do. And that doesn't mean that I don't relish a very specific aspect that give me more intimacy, but everything else is also an object of my love.
Yeah, at one point you mentioned is how Prabhupada and yeah, he's the expert driver. He knows how to guide us to drive, and he knows what pitfalls to point out. So like if we apply ourselves to this, there's no room for sahaja stuff, right? Yeah, like someone into sahaja means one who's pretending. I mean, in one sense, we're also having, to the extent that I'm pretending more advanced than I am. But the idea is like, well, I'm just into Krishna and the gopis and the bushes of Vrindavan. So then there's no interest in this, and that's completely not the spirit of Bhagavatam.
Or Sukadev Goswami.
Or Shukadev Goswami, or Maharaj or Sutta Goswami, or Prabhupada. So we can feel Shukadev Goswami's actually Prabhupada's ecstasy. Here talking about the different subjects like that. So Prabhupada's really protecting us from that serious sahaja pitfall.
Mm-hmm. He's so expert.
So
like Srila Prabhupada is so expert, doctor, and knows how to give us the medicine. It's just, and it's so safe to take shelter and stay under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, knowing and I can see in my recent experience, I could see trust in doctor is so important. And then when there's too many doctors, it becomes so bewildering.
Yeah.
Of course I can hear from different doctors, but I need one doctor that I am okay, I'm following that doctor and I don't want another doctor. I may, read a book about that and that, but that's a doctor I'm following.
Yeah.
And how it's so crucial to healing. And there may be other doctors that are very good, maybe, but I don't need to look for them. The doctor that came to me is a doctor I'm going to trust. There is some comments, so I'm going to put my glasses on. It's a lot of comments, and I'm going to read them. Oh, Drew said, Hare Krishna, nice to be with all of you this morning.
That was from 5:30 a.m.
Oh, I see.
And I wrote Hare Krishna.
Jai, Jim Woods, sharing God is so important. People are starving. Yeah. And for us to feel that, I appreciate Jim's comment, because to feel that the starving of the soul, to feel that, if we were to feel that paradukkha, like the devotee feels the pain of the other living entity for that starving. We are all there, everybody's looking for Krishna. That's the beginning of Krishna book by George Harrison. Yeah, everyone is looking for Krishna, and starving, like everybody's starving, and they think that they are going to fulfill their hunger by, going to a restaurant or making plans for enjoyment. And that hunger is not going to be fulfilled by the glorification of the Lord. And the Nayans have comments to be aligned and engaged with someone's deepest desire seem deeply personal to me. Intimate, interpersonal oneness. Thank you, Narayan. Yes, that's his deepest desire. And then Jim shared, I want to go back. I want pure devotional service. Nice. Let's keep it going. Mm-hmm. And then there is Patrick. And I'm imagining maybe Nalini Kanta. And I'm not advanced enough to read all that, but it seems deep. Thank you for sharing, Nalini Kanta. I love pigs also, Krishna. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, artist. Yeah, a complete artist. Krishna gave us artistic talent and he gave a lot of artistic talent to Nalini Kanta. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for being here. Grantora Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Oh.
Hey.
Jai, 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 Jai.
Jai Jai Jai
Joy, joy, joy.
Jai, 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 Jai.
Nitoy.
Jai. Vaikuntha Vijay. Vaikuntha Vijay Ki Jai.
Jai, 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 Jai. Jai.
Krishna.